John Anderson was a man who had everything: a booming business empire, a beautiful wife, and a luxurious lifestyle. From the outside, his life seemed perfect. Born into a struggling family, John had worked tirelessly to build his wealth. His real estate company, Anderson Group, was one of the most successful in the country. He had multiple properties, luxury cars, and a reputation that commanded respect. But the real pride of his life was his wife, Victoria Anderson. She was intelligent, hardworking, and just as ambitious as he was. Victoria was a successful businesswoman, constantly traveling to expand her fashion empire. Despite their busy schedules, John and Victoria deeply loved each other. In their household, there was also Lily Carter, their housemaid. She was quiet, respectful, and hardworking. Having grown up in poverty, she was grateful to have a job in such a wealthy home. She admired both John and Victoria and considered them good people. Everything seemed peaceful in the Anderson household until one fateful day changed everything. John and Victoria had been married for 5 years. Despite their wealth, they always tried to keep their marriage strong. "I missed you, my love," John whispered as he hugged Victoria the moment she returned from a business trip. "I missed you too, baby," she said, kissing him on the cheek. Lily, who was carrying Victoria's bags upstairs, smiled. She admired their love. Even though they were wealthy, they still cared for each other. At dinner, Victoria noticed the food was exceptionally good. "Lily, you've outdone yourself again," she complimented. "Thank you, ma'am," Lily responded shyly. Victoria always treated Lily kindly, giving her occasional gifts and ensuring she felt comfortable in their home. John also appreciated Lily's work. She was efficient, respectful, and never caused any problems. But life has a way of changing even the most perfect situations. One evening, John returned home early from work. As he walked through the mansion, he saw Lily cleaning the large glass windows. For the first time, he really looked at her. She had always been in the house, but he had never noticed how beautiful she was. Her long hair was neatly tied back, and her simple uniform did nothing to hide her natural beauty. Something stirred inside him. "Good evening, sir," she greeted, unaware of his intense gaze. "Evening," John muttered before quickly looking away. From that moment on, something changed. John began to notice Lily more often. The way she moved, the way she smiled. It was as if his eyes had been opened to something new. He tried to ignore it. He was a married man. He loved Victoria. But desire is a dangerous thing. One night, John found himself in the kitchen when Lily was there alone, washing dishes. "You work too hard," he said. Lily turned, surprised. John rarely spoke to her like this. "It's my job, sir," she said politely. John took a step closer. "You don't have to call me sir all the time." She hesitated. I don't know what else to call you." "Call me John." Her cheeks flushed. "Okay. John." From that night, their interactions became more personal. John started buying Lily small gifts, perfume, dresses, and jewelry. "You deserve nice things," he would say whenever she protested. Lily tried to resist, but she was young, and John was charming. One evening, after too many stolen glances and accidental touches, John could no longer hold back. "Promise me you won't tell Victoria," he whispered. Lily hesitated but then nodded. And just like that, the secret affair began. Victoria was too busy to notice the changes in her home. She was constantly traveling for business meetings, expanding her fashion empire. Whenever she was home, John played the role of the perfect husband. "I love you, John," Victoria would say as she packed her bags for another trip. "I love you too," John would reply, feeling a strange guilt creeping into his heart. But the moment she left, his attention turned back to Lily. Victoria trusted her husband completely. She never imagined that the girl she treated so kindly was now his secret lover. But secrets don't stay hidden forever. A few months passed, and Lily started feeling different. She was often tired, nauseous, and dizzy. One day, she took a pregnancy test. The two bold lines confirmed her fears that she was pregnant. Her hands trembled as she stared at the result. "Oh my God, what am I going to do?" she whispered. She knew she had to tell John. That evening, John sat in their beautiful living room, scrolling through his phone when Lily nervously approached. "John, we need to talk." He looked up, sensing her anxiety. "What is it?" Lily swallowed hard. "I'm pregnant." Silence filled the room. John's face darkened. "Who got you pregnant?" Tears welled up in Lily's eyes. "You did." John's heart pounded. He looked towards the staircase, afraid Victoria might hear. "We can't keep this baby," he whispered. Lily's lips trembled. "John, please, don't do this." Just then, Victoria entered the room, oblivious to the tension. "What's going on?" she asked, smiling. John forced a smile. "Nothing, love. Just discussing house matters." Lily's heart shattered. The next morning, John called Lily into the living room. Victoria wasn't home. "You need to leave this house," John said coldly. Lily gasped. "But John, where will I go? I have no one. We can't raise that child here." Tears streamed down Lily's face. She had loved John. She had trusted him. "Please, Olga, don't do this." But John's heart had turned to stone. With nowhere to go, Lily left the mansion, pregnant and alone. Lily suffered greatly. She slept outside, worked odd jobs, and struggled to survive. On a cold winter night, she finally gave birth to a baby boy. Meanwhile, John couldn't sleep. His business started facing unexpected losses. His guilt ate at him until an old friend gave him advice. "Find her, John. You have offended her." Finally, he confessed everything to Victoria. "You kept this from me for so long," she screamed, furious. John had destroyed everything. And now, he had to fix it. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. John Anderson's life was unraveling. His business deals began to crumble, investors pulled out, and his once thriving empire started to falter. At night, he lay awake, haunted by the memory of Lily's tear-streaked face as she walked out of his mansion, pregnant and alone. Victoria, still reeling from John's confession, refused to speak to him. Their once warm and loving home was now cold and silent. One evening, while staring blankly at his office ceiling, David Miller, his longtime friend and business partner, entered. "John, you've got to fix this," David urged. "Your life, your business, it's all falling apart." John sighed heavily. "I know, David. But I don't know where to start." "Start by finding her. You can't run from this forever." John knew David was right. It was time to face the consequences of his actions. John began searching for Lily. He hired private investigators, put up inquiries, and visited shelters and hospitals. One rainy afternoon, as he sat in his car, drenched and defeated, he saw her, a shadow of the vibrant girl she once was. She was holding a small, frail baby boy, wrapped tightly in a worn-out blanket. John's heart stopped. He got out of the car, rain pouring down on him. "Lily," he called, voice trembling. She turned slowly, her eyes widening in disbelief. "Olga, John, what are you doing here?" He took a shaky breath. "Looking for you." "I'm so sorry, Lily." Tears welled up in her eyes, but her face remained stoic. "Sorry won't change what happened." John glanced at the tiny baby, whose eyes mirrored his own. His son. "Please, let me help. Let me fix this," he begged. Lily shook her head. "You threw us away? Why now?" John's voice cracked. "I was wrong. I've lost everything, my wife, my business, myself. Please, let me make it right." Lily looked at her son, then back at John. "You can't just walk back into our lives like nothing happened." "I know," John whispered. "But I'm willing to try, if you let me." Back at the mansion, Victoria sat in their empty bedroom, surrounded by memories. She picked up a framed photo from their honeymoon, a reminder of happier times. She heard the door creak open and turned to see John standing there, soaked from the rain. "Did you find her?" Victoria asked coldly. John nodded. "I did." "And our son?" Victoria's eyes widened, a mixture of shock and pain etched on her face. "Your son," she corrected, voice trembling. "Victoria, I made a terrible mistake. I was selfish, and I hurt you. I understand if you can't forgive me, but I can't abandon my son." Victoria looked away, tears streaming down her cheeks. "You lied to me, John. You betrayed me. I know, and I'm sorry. But I need to make this right, for him, for Lily, for us." "Us?" Victoria scoffed. "There is no us anymore." John swallowed hard. "I understand. But I can't lose you too." Victoria stood up, her posture rigid. "I need time, John. To think, to heal. But right now, you need to focus on that boy." John nodded, understanding that his path to redemption would be long and painful. John spent the following weeks trying to rebuild his relationship with Lily. He provided her with a small apartment, ensured she had everything she needed, and started paying for their son's health care. He visited daily, bringing groceries, toys, and anything else they needed. Slowly, Lily began to let her guard down. "You don't have to do all this," she said one day, as John fixed a leaking pipe in the kitchen. "Yes, I do. For you and our son," he replied softly. Lily watched him, her heart conflicted. She still loved him, despite everything. But could she ever trust him again? Their son, now healthier and stronger, started recognizing John. The first time he called him Daddy, John's heart shattered and rebuilt all at once. Meanwhile, Victoria was struggling with her own emotions. She loved John, but his betrayal cut deep. One evening, Sophia visited her. "He's trying, you know," Sophia said gently. "I know what he did was unforgivable, but people make mistakes." Victoria sighed. "It's not just a mistake, Sophia. He built a life outside of ours. But he's still trying to fix it," Sophia argued. "Maybe he deserves a chance." Victoria closed her eyes, her heart torn. She needed clarity, and she needed to see for herself. A year later, John stood in a park, watching his son take his first steps. Beside him stood Lily, smiling softly. And a few steps away, Victoria watched with cautious optimism. Their lives were forever changed, scarred by betrayal but also healed by the shared love for a child. John had lost a lot but had gained something far more precious, a chance at redemption. And as he watched his son laugh and stumble, he knew he would never take love for granted again. What do you think about this story? Do you think John truly deserved a second chance? If you were Victoria, would you ever forgive him? And what about Lily? Should she have taken John back or moved on completely? Drop your thoughts in the comments section below. I'd love to hear what you think. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing stories. See you in the next one.